Welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I am the Recovery Plug. What's happening, everybody? Thank you for taking time to watch my video podcast. And, you know how I like to get my video podcast is always started with a moment of silence followed by the serenity prayer for the addict who still suffers. So, if you would, a moment of silence, please. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Alrighty, well, let's get started. Well, how's it going, everybody? Well, today's going pretty good. I today got my day started with some good meditation. I listened to a podcast of C. Lewis podcast today, and so my day started pretty good. You know what I mean? I got up and I actually, believe it or not, I went to two meetings already today. And first, I go to a peer support group that is part of my veterans group. I'm a veteran, and I go to a peer support group that I go through the VA. So that one was pretty good. I mean, I've been going to that peer support group now for it's been probably for I don't know. I've been going for about 4 months now, and it almost feels like a home group now. So we're all there's a group of people that they're all veterans, and we all kind of get along, and it's cool. It's encouraging to go and listen to different stories and people's problems and how they're what their problems they're having and their addiction and their road to recovery and what they're doing to stay there and how people are struggling, because some of them have relapsed and but they keep coming back and they are trying to find a new way. And that's the key, is to keep coming back and being engaged. So, it was great to go to that meeting this morning, and then I went to had that one, and then I got back to Cross Point over at the transitional housing facility that I live at, and I decided that I wanted to go to another meeting. Yeah, so I remembered that they have a downtown San Antonio. There's a meeting out in downtown San Antonio. It's called Just for the Newcomer, and it's a good meeting, and it's a noon meeting. It says like at 1:30, and so I invited a guy that stays there at Cross Point as well, and I know that he's an alcoholic, and he deals with he's an addict too. You know what I mean? So I was able to talk him into coming, and then he talked another guy into coming. So it was kind of a domino effect. You know what I mean? So those are the kind of things that when you are engaged in the recovery community and your faith-based community, your actions will domino effect into more positive actions. And so that was one of the things that since it was a positive thought that I had in my head that I thought of, and in result I had a positive action from that, and in turn of that I invited somebody to the meeting, and then he had the same thing, so he invited someone else, so we all three went to the meeting, and it was a good meeting. You know what I mean? We sat there and listened to people's stories, and I don't always share at meetings, but this particular meeting I felt the urge to share, and I'm hopefully that my message when I shared helped somebody, because that's what we do as addicts. We help other addicts get into the world of recovery and positivity by giving away what has helped us along the way to get there. So that is key to stay engaged, and that's one of the things that I'm doing this time around in my recovery, because this is not the first time that I've been in recovery, because I've been involved in substance abuse and alcohol and drugs since as long as I can remember, and I've had troubles here and there with that, and I decided that this time around I'm doing a little bit more different in the form of staying in my recovered state, and what I like to call it is I like to call it my recovery arsenal. I've loaded up a little bit more this time around because I'm older now, and I've gained more knowledge of the things that I have done, and the things that have kept me in this state and not in the state of darkness and addiction. And it's everything is trial and error in a sense. You can't move on, you can't get better unless you have gone through some adversities, right? And unfortunately for us as addicts, we tend to sometimes have adversities that we talk ourselves into staying, and sometimes we don't make it back. You know what I mean? That's the unfortunate part, is that we don't make it back. But even though we're doing things that we know are going to kill us, we continue to do them. And that's the insanity part. That's because it's insane to do something like that. The normal guy's not going to do that. But since we're not normal, and we have this, neurological brain disorder in the form of myself, in the form of, childhood traumatic experiences, PTSDs, freaking a drug addiction. It's tough to get out of something when it makes you feel what is bothering you in the first place. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to mask this feeling that we don't want to feel. We don't want to go through these things. When we start having these adversities pop in our lives, whether it's losing a job, whether it's too much hassle at work, or your significant other is putting you through the ringer, or you're just totally unhappy with yourself, you're in depression, you're just mad all the time, whatever it is that you're struggling with, or your addiction is, it's insane to keep using something that's jacking you up. And by the grace of God, I'm here today doing these podcast videos, clean and sober, and I'm proud of myself for that. You know what I mean? Because I beat myself up a lot. You know what I mean? I would beat myself up a lot, and that's what would keep me in addiction, is that I would blame myself for a lot of things, and then just beat myself up that, man, all of this stuff is happening to my kids and it's my fault. And, I lost my business and now I'm stuck here. I lost my business, then I lose my kids, then I lose my home, and now I'm homeless. And poor me, let me beat myself up by freaking using more and more and more. And if I die, who gives a shit? Because ultimately, while I'm in the darkness and I'm using, I don't give a shit about anything. I don't give even a crap about my own family, because I still stayed there doing it. You know what I mean? And, I relapsed and after being sober for a long time. And unfortunately for me, that relapse lasted 5 years. You know what I mean? It's a long relapse, dude. And it's not, it's a terrible way to live. But, by the grace of God, I was able to get another chance at the recovery life, get another chance to, do my due diligence in giving away what has helped me along the way to get here clean and sober today. And, I understand that more today than I did, before in my, previous runs, and, I'm just grateful and hope that my arsenal that I have in my recovery and in my faith base keeps me clean and sober for the rest of my life. And that's the goal. You know what I mean? That's the goal for me personally. And I would hope that I would encourage it to be the goal for somebody else listening to this, that, you don't have to live in that darkness. You don't have to live in that depression. You don't have to live in that pain, because ultimately you got no control over the things that you can't change. You know what I mean? If you can't change them, then why even bother, dealing with it? Why even bother worrying about it? Give it, that's where the spirituality thing comes in, is that you have to finally be able to say, hey, you know what? I can't control this, and no matter what I do, no matter how many times I freaking use, it's still going to be there. And I'm still not going to be able to change it. You know what I mean? Ultimately, I got to face the music. Ultimately, I have to feel that adversity in order to get to the next step of my life. And I'm living proof that you can do it. You know what I mean? And it is something that it's not easy to do, because by no means was my addiction easy to freaking keep. I couldn't stay addicted. It wasn't an easy thing to do, because I always had to do things to maintain it. You know what I mean? Eventually, I ran out of money. Eventually, everything I had to sell shit. Then I started doing illegal stuff to maintain it. Then I started selling drugs to do drugs, and then it was just a whole mess. But what I do know is that it's not a good way to live. And what I do know is that when I was in that state, all the things that I thought about and the things that were coming out of my mouth were mainly all just negative things, negative and bad things. And in turn there, when you think things and talk things that are not good, well, then your actions become exactly the same thing. So I had to learn how to reprogram my mindset and to do things in a positive way, to set positive boundaries, and to live like that on the daily basis. You know what I mean? There's a prayer, the Our Father prayer. The Our Father prayer starts out with, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And that last part of that particular verse, give us this day our daily bread, that is really key to me, because I translate that in a daily thing. And it's the same thing and the same principle as a 12-step program has in AA or NA. The serenity prayer is telling you, God, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And you're doing this on the daily basis. They always say one day at a time, keep coming back one day at a time. And in Our Father prayer, when it says that, it said, give us our daily bread. You're not asking and you're not praying for that daily bread to get you through, a month from now. Or give me the bread that's getting me through, give me the daily bread for the whole week. No, you're praying it just for that day. God, give me that daily bread just to stay sober today. And tomorrow, we'll ask again. You know what I mean? But if you do this on a repetitious basis, if you do these positive things and set positive boundaries on a repetitious and daily thing, and you keep that like that in your life, my personal experience is that I'm doing things on the daily. I do it every single day. I get up in the morning, I do a morning affirmation, I do a morning meditation, I do morning prayer, and I do that on the daily so that my life and my day starts off in a positive vibe. You know what I mean? And when I lay my head at night, I'm doing the same thing. I do my affirmation, I do my meditation, I do my prayer, because I want that to be the last thing I'm thinking of when I lay my head down. So then it starts another cycle, the next day, and the next day, and the next day. But see here, the key is that when you do it on the repetitious basis, those negative things that you were thinking and those negative boundaries, whatever the case was, they start fading away little by little. And then your life starts becoming easier and easier. You start getting happy again. You start regaining things. You know what I mean? And that is, the word recovery is just exactly that. You're recovering things that once made you happy. And, whether it's relationships, whether it's material things, whatever the case is, you'll start getting them back. And it's great to be, able to share things like that, to be able to help somebody else. Because ultimately that's what you want to do. I mean, that is the service work in in yourself and in your recovery and in your faith-based journey, is to help someone else. But you got to do it for you first. You got to help you first, because without helping you, there's no way you can help anybody else. And so I encourage you to do that morning affirmation, do that morning meditation, do that, listen to somebody's podcast, do positive things like that, and see what that does for you. See how that starts changing your life when you do that on a daily basis. And I'm excited that I'm doing these podcasts, you know what I mean? From the very first one that I started doing till today, they're getting, I'm not all the way there yet, but it's just a journey, you know what I mean? It's a journey, and I intend to keep that journey and to try and save as many people as I can. And so I really appreciate you guys checking out my video podcast, and if you would please do me a favor at this time, hit the thumbs up, give me a like, give me a comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I greatly appreciate that, because you know what, when you do subscribe and you hit that like button, you not only help my channel grow, but you help another homeless person, you help another addict, you help another person stay in recovery, get motivated to share their story, and bring more people into this world of positivity and recovery. So I appreciate you guys listening to my podcast, and I guess until the next time, when the smoke clears, I am the Recovery Plug.